Good evening, Sister Immaculata. It's nice meeting you, and we'd like to know more about you. We'd like you to tell us your name, where you come from, and the things you want us to know about you.
Thank you, sister. Good evening, sister. Nice being here too. I'm Immaculata Obanure. I hail from Ijumo local government in Kogi State. Was born into the family of Mr. and Mrs. John Obanure on the 27th of June 1981. I'm the fifth child of 5 children, 3 females and 2 boys. I attended St. Mary's Primary School in Lokoja, and then Bishop Delhi's Secondary School in Lokoja.
Okay. Did I hear you say you are the baby of the house?
Yes, sister.
Okay, that's interesting to know. And you schooled in Lokoja, which is Kogi State, part of the Nigeria, which is towards the northern part, almost like Middle Belt. And I know in that area, the Sisters of St. Louis are not there. So how did you come to know Sisters of St. Louis?
When I had the intention of becoming a religious, in my parish in Lokoja, the cathedral, the handmaid sisters are there. And within the town, we have the Sacred Heart sisters, we have the DMM sisters, and the Eucharistic sisters. So when I had the intention, I met with one of our brother in the charismatic, and I shared my thoughts with him. I told him I don't know any apart from the ones I've seen. So he now asked me, he gave me the SMA, the MSP calendar to check. So when I checked the back, I saw different congregations. And then I was attracted to Sisters of St. Louis and Notre Dame. So I told them, he now said, okay, that I should pray about each of them. And I said, okay. So I wrote to the Sisters of St. Louis and the Notre Dame sisters. Their response came at the same time, and the time for the leaving the same date. So I went back and I said, the two of them, they've responded the same date. He now said, you can't be at the two places at the same time. That which of them? I was just attracted to St. Louis. He now made a joke and said, is it because of St. Louis sugar? So I laughed. I said, I just love that name, St. Louis. And then looking at the spirituality of what was being written there, the care for the poor and all of those. So I just told him that since I had the mind of working with the poor, I have love for them, that I would prefer to go with St. Louis sisters. So I attended the living and then started the formation.
Okay, so tell us, when did you become, when did you begin your journey as a religious, and how old are you in religious life now? Who are those in your set?
I started my postulancy 2003, entered the novitiate 2004, and was professed 2006. We were 6 when we started, but at present 3 of us are St. Louis sisters now. That's Mary John, Juliana Ibelike, and myself. So I'm 17 years by August this year, please God, I'll be 17 years professed.
By August 2024 or 2024?
Yeah. 24.
Okay, so this year, 2024 August, will be 17 years. That's quite
So I'm
good.
16 plus.
What has been your experience? What would you say has been your joys and then your challenges?
Going through the journey after my first profession, I was posted to Obuashuku, St. Mary's Hospital, and I worked there with some sisters, Sister Janet Makinde, Sister Perpetua Agogova, and Sister Perpetua Oloba. I worked in the pharmacy and at the same time the accounts section. It was an interesting experience just living the novitiate, trying to get things done, trying to do the right things and all of those. But at the same time, it wasn't an easy journey because of the kind of apostolate there. It was quite challenging because you need to do most of the things and then try to get things done. And 2008, I was transferred to Okakoko, St. Mary's Primary Health Center. I worked in the pharmacy and also as the accountant there. It was an interesting one too, but the apostolate was quite challenging. And after which I gained admission 2010 to Federal School of Social Work, Federal School of Social Work. I was transferred to Obuashuku on second missionary journey, but unfortunately, that same year, that was when the hospital was closed down. So I was now moved to Ewulu community, and then I was there throughout my schooling. I finished 2014. I was retained there. So I worked in the farm, pretend farm, and at the same time running the small primary health center in Obuashuku, but that didn't last. It was later closed down. That's the health center. I was on the farm working with some sisters, and after which was posted to Akure in 2014 to work with the lepers. That's the leprosarium, Agoroti. And at the same time, I worked in Mater Dei. Spent some days in Agoroti, then one day in Mater Dei. So working there, my experiences so far, my challenges, that the life has been an interesting one, but at the same time, that it's not an easy journey. And what I've come to realize is living each day, one day at a time. Maybe that one has been my consoling words because when I try to do that, I face each day challenges and then I move on with the strength. Working in Agority was a very big thing for me. When it comes to working with lepers, it wasn't strange because as a novice, I worked there for 2 years. So I knew the people and then there was a relationship already. But the sin of the leprosy thing they have wasn't an interesting thing. It's caring and all of those. When you meet with them, your contacts, and so that fear was there. But going to work with them, I told myself that if I should contact this disease, what would be my fate in the same? Not finally professed and then all of those. But at the end of the day, when I started working, I was asked to go to Usiomo to work for a month as something like an internship to meet with the sisters of the Daughters of Charity. So I understudied them. They taught me how to go through some precautions, what you do, and all of those. So when I came back, I was really ready for the work. And then I was there for 4 years. I was able to work with them. And by God's grace, I don't think I contacted the leprosy.
Yeah,
So working there with their
I want to check with you. I'm very interested in your working with the leper in the leper settlement. And I know what actually inspired your studying social work, because I know that your present apostolate also has to do with social work. Did you work with the lepers before studying, or did you study before coming to work with them? I know you said you worked there as a novice, but what inspired your studying social work?
Thank you, sister. Before had the intention of becoming a religious, I just love working with. I love what they call children's home, but people call them orphanage homes. It's children's home, not orphanage home. I had that intention, and then becoming a sister, I just felt that dream could be achieved when I do that. I have enough time and all of those. Then, as a novice, I worked with Sister Frances during my community experience. So that really exposed me to working with them. With the I worked with the elderly, with those who were sick, all kinds of people that Sister Frances worked with.
Which Frances?
So yes, Sister Frances in Ondo. So coming back, I just had that interest. There's this passion I had for maybe the poor, and then just the people that society will say they don't really matter, maybe the marginalized. And then when I worked in Oka, that really, I think that was where the interest was now developed. In Oka, when I worked in Oka, then there are some boys that, they are very stubborn. They don't go to church. They are just stubborn, naturally stubborn. And those are the kind of boys I move with. I make friends with them. And then they started changing. And their parents were like, Sister, how did you go about it? This boy doesn't go to church. He doesn't stay at home. But now he's a changed person. I would just say, no, there's nothing. No. I'll invite them to the convent and all of those, even with the girls. So one day, I invited one of them to come after having a chat and then just trying to work on the person. Sister Vicky now asked me, that was Victoria Orifumishi, she now asked me and said, what do I want to study in school? I said, oh, guidance and counseling. She said, is that what I want? I said, yes. She said, but what I see you do is not guidance and counseling. I said, I don't know. She said it is called social work. In fact, that was the first time I heard the words. That profession. And I said, eh. So she tried to explain the difference between guidance and counseling and social work. I now saw myself that not guidance and counseling. So that was what led me to, oh, I think this is where the way I'm supposed to be. So because I just have this passion, is what I had before coming in, and then coming in again, I was able to develop it, and then finding people around me that really helped me to nurture that. So that was what led me into studying social work.
Okay. Yeah. Do you mind sharing your present apostolate with us, where you work and the kind of work you do?
Thank you, sister. Presently, I'm in Urumi, in Edo State. I work with the elderly, Home of Mercy and Peace. We work with the elderly and the vulnerable adults. The home for the elderly is owned by the diocese. It was established 2018 by the Bishop of the diocese, Bishop Donatus Obanure, and the Sisters of St. Louis. We are collaborating with him, running the place, the home for him. And his intention of creating this home is to create an enabling environment, especially for the poor, the abandoned elderly, and those who are rejected in the society, and also for the vulnerable adults. Working here as a social worker, they'll say, they will call it gerontology. That's if a social worker, if I'm going to go into it. I have an idea because it's part of what I was taught in school to care for the elderly, not just to feed them, not just to house them, but there are other things that you do with them. You are you put yourself in their place because being the old age itself is challenging. When you look at it, many people are afraid of getting because it is old age is being seen as a cause for some people, which is not. It's supposed to be a blessing because the way many people are seeing old age. 3 days ago, I was called that there was an old woman that was driven out of the house by the daughter. The daughter said she's a witch. We have some of them here because she's old. And then we had to go, went on rescue mission, brought the mama in and everything. An elderly woman that's supposed to be enjoying the presence, the love, and everything of the child. But now the woman is being seen as a witch. So that kind of thing, that's the kind of environment where we are, that some of them, they just see them to life. I mean, they are no longer useful to us. We don't really need them. They are a burden to us. And we have some of them here that their children brought them because of greener pasture. We can no longer stay with them. And some are being brought here, maybe by some people that, oh, their children abandoned them, nobody to care for them, and all of those. So when you now look at the kind of work and you just feel that, no, this is a vocation, like one of my lecturers always say and said, sister, you have two vocations. Being a social worker is a vocation, and being a religious is another vocation.
Yeah,
And each
I
time I
quite
look at it,
agree
I
with
say,
you.
yes. Mm. So the kind of work we do here, we are not doing the work alone. There are sisters there, but we have workers too, because it's not what we can really do ourselves. The time is, I mean, the work is time consuming, it's challenging. You can't just do it by yourself. Even when we have workers and we are doing it, we still know that no, this is not an easy thing for us. But at the same time, we enjoy doing the work. Because for me personally, the work reminds me that one day I will be like them, they once like me. So it's like tapping knowledge from these old people. They have their own challenges too, of stroke. Many of them have stroke, many of them have dementia, some of them have mental illness, just like that. And then different kinds of challenges. And some of them, they don't, some of them you work and they don't even appreciate what you do. Instead, you get insult and all of those. But at the same time, you still need to care for them. You still need to love them. You still need to make them feel as if they are at home. So we don't make them to feel as if they're in old people's home. No, we make them to feel as if they're in their homes, and then we are their children. We try to do that for them. So you take care of their bathing, their feeding, assist them, their medications, and then you journey with them spiritually again. So you just see that is a setting that we've said, okay, this is going to be a home, another home from home for you. So the work has been an interesting one. But one thing is, if you do not have passion for it, it's not what you want to go into. You get tired. But because it's what we love to do, we are tired. The following morning, you are refreshed. You go back to the work again.
Yeah, listening to you, I quite imagine the challenges in working there. At the same time, it calls for empathy. If one has that kind of empathy and compassion, the person will be able to work with them. So I quite agree with your lecturer that you have double vocations, vocation inside vocation. And I admire your courage, and I want to encourage you. You are doing a very good job taking care of those who have nobody to take care of them, like Mother Teresa did, which is a job that if it is well done, you're already paving your way to eternity. So I want to encourage you to keep up the spirit and pray as we join you in prayer. I remember I once asked you your strengths and challenges. Maybe in one word or two, could you tell us your most joyful moments as a religious in these 17 years, and then maybe your most challenging moments within these 17 years?
I would say my most joyful moment. I don't have a particular moment, but anytime I find myself in a community that I call a home, I think those moments are joyful for me. When I live in a community that is less stressful, like and that I'm happy to be. And then the other moment is when I find myself living with sisters that I've not really had such experience, really. I've not had such experience, and I've been fortunate of living with sisters, maybe just one or two, and after some time, but I've not really had any moment that I would say maybe I've not really enjoyed.
Okay.
So at least for the 17 years, God has been faithful. At least has blessed me with the sisters I can call my own sister, and a home I can community I can call the home. So I just hope it will be. I don't know for tomorrow. At least
Okay.
my apostolate can be challenging, time, but because it's what I love to do, I'm not forced into it. I find joy doing what I love to do. So I'm tired. It can be stressful, yes, but I'm happy doing
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Would you like to say something to
that.
the future generation, maybe those who will be watching this in the nearest future, or maybe some young persons might watch it? And I'm glad you are a young sister. What would you like to say to them about religious life?
Thank you, sister. I would say that the life is an interesting one. If one is able to make one's the right choice of being in the life, that the life it calls for giving up oneself totally, and at the same time to have that inner joy of fulfillment. I think that's what the life is for me. That as long as I'm happy in it, it doesn't matter the kind of community I'm posted to. But what matters is my inner joy, my fulfillment. If I'm fulfilled with the life itself, other challenges are just by the way. So I'll just encourage the young sisters that they should try to be fulfilled and be happy, and not just to look at the physical challenges of the work, of how tedious the work is, or how the community is. That's not it. It will not continue to be like that. But the main thing is the inner peace, the fulfillment, and the joy that they will derive from the life. But at the same time, they should know that the life is not an easy one. At the same time, it's quite an interesting. Thank you, sister.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a question that is somehow funny. If you have opportunity of coming back to life again, would you like to be a religious?
Yes,
Okay, that's interesting. So that means you are telling those who are out there and struggling with making up their mind, taking the decision if they should join religious life. You are encouraging them to join. that is a good life. Is that what you're saying? Did you hear me?
If they are convinced, yes.
All right. Thank you very much, Immaculata. I am very pleased to have you this evening. And I pray that God will bless you and keep you in your vocation and grant you the strength you need to continue to love Him in the people you take care of. Thank you, and God bless you.
Amen. Thank you, sister. I really appreciate it.